Not go over 1 minute, so we're going to get going on this. First of all, if you don't have one of your little handy dandy smart pins for your eyeglasses, you can use them for your reading glasses or your sunglasses. They're magnetic, so they don't ruin your clothes. Please go out and buy one. Ways and means help offset some of our operating costs. Okay, there's my plug. I'm Cora Finley. I'm your treasurer for FACO, and here is my report, and I'm from Saudi Arabia. Okay, financial health of the organization. Even though you will see that we do have a deficit in our budget this year, we are still financially healthy. We have lots of cash, lots of endowment fund. That doesn't mean that we should go around and spend it all, but we are financially healthy. What happened to my picture? Oh, okay, there we go. All right. The balance sheet now reflects what I call true fund accounting. Since we are a 501c3 organization, that's how we should be reporting things. All this means is that our reserves are sorted into categories. For example, the Founder Circle was created to assist the financial need of task forces as deemed necessary. Therefore, those monies are separated and as unrestricted funds. We also have monies that are received directly for like the Eleanor Roosevelt Leadership Workshop or the Disaster Relief Fund. Again, those monies are not intended to be used as operating funds, so they're maintained and tracked separately. We also have a quasi-endowment fund, which was established when we received the bequest from the Elaine Sanigalia Trust. We are still waiting for the balance of those funds, but again, that's created as a quasi-endowment fund, internally restricted. We have agreed to use the income generated from those funds if we need to, otherwise they will be reinvested and it will continue to grow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yes, FACO is a not-for-profit organization registered in the state of New York. We work under the premise of a zero-balanced budget. We work hard to save our pennies, but it's not always possible, and sometimes we have to break into the piggy bank. Therefore, it is essential for us to keep a pulse on the financial balance to ensure that we are able to run the organization in an efficient and effective manner. Conference excess. As you can imagine, planning and budgeting for a conference can be a bit tricky. Conference fees are based on the actual costs of putting on the conference. And sometimes the conference organizers are able to secure sponsors to help cover some of these expenses. Many times, sponsors sign up after the conference fee has been set. Therefore, it is possible for the conference to recognize net proceeds after all expenses have been paid. This indeed was the fact for the interim conference in Dublin. FACO received $8,600 as a result of this excess revenue. The board has chosen to use these funds to subsidize your conference registration fees. The excess funds are not being used for general operating expenses. We felt it was important to invest in the participants that invest in FACO. Financial benefits. The benefit to you and your members of your club is that we are a 501c3. What that means is that this standing allows you as individuals to recognize a charitable deduction on your Schedule A income tax return when preparing that return. So that's promote that as a benefit. Okay, FACO operating income. As you can see from this pie chart, we have 43% of our income comes from program income. That represents membership dues, web hosting fees, and domain registration fees. 34% comes from advertising, 9% from sponsors, and a lot of that sponsor money will come in and then go out again because it'll be for like to sponsor the conference, typically. 6% comes from contributions which are received from individuals, clubs, but are also passed through for expenses such as the Eleanor Roosevelt Leadership Workshop or the Disaster Relief Fund. The other thing that comes under contributions are gifts in kind. And many times, a lot of the board members will incur expenses for traveling to board meetings out of their own pocket. It's recognized as a gift in kind on the income side of our balance, of our profit and loss, and then again as an expense, as a travel expense. This helps us recognize exactly what it costs to run this organization should we not have those people that are generous enough to offset some of these expenses. And 1% just comes from sales, ways and means. We'd like to pump that up, so go out and buy your little handy dandy eyeglass holder here. Operating expenses. As you can see from this chart, 70% of the expenses are for travel. This includes all board members, parliamentarian, U.S. liaison, NGO, etc. 19% goes towards operations, which consists of printing the forum. We also printed a new brochure last year. Postage, tax filing fees, etc. And 10% goes towards what I would call contract fees, which are like our auditor fees. We have business registration fees. We also have fees that we might pay for professional web hosting, web page design, and so forth. Okay, the forecast. I don't know, it's probably pretty small for you to see. But if you'll notice, you just want to look at the last three columns on the right-hand side. And the very first column is actual 2011-2012. And it shows that we had a deficit of $6,700. Had we recognized the conference excess, we had some other conference expenses that we had paid out, so we netted about $6,600. Had we recognized that as income, we would have had a deficit of $200. And in the past, it has usually been used to help cover operating expenses. This year, we chose not to do it. So it looks like we have a deficit of $6,700. This coming year, we're forecasting another deficit of $6,700. Let me explain to you why. First of all, we have had very difficult time securing advertisers. It didn't come anywhere near the budget that we had planned or adopted, which resulted in almost $7,200 less revenue than was budgeted. We also lost 7 clubs, therefore approximately $2,800 of dues revenue. And although we have been able to decrease expenses across the board, the total for travel and meetings is expected to exceed the budget by $3,000. As you can see, the majority of the deficit is due to the lack of income we have been unable to generate this year. We brought this to your attention a year ago. We would love suggestions, ideas on how we can help generate some more revenue. We are really tight. We've tightened down on the expenses. I'm not sure where we can cut, but if you guys have suggestions, we'd love to hear them. I had suggested maybe raising dues, and everyone said, no, so we're not doing that. But I would love to hear some suggestions and ideas, if you have any, on how we can eliminate this deficit. When Renuka Matthews, Finance Chair, reviews the proposed budget for the next term, during her presentation, you will see that the board will still have many challenges to face while trying to maintain a balanced budget. And I found this picture and it just spoke volumes to me. It is true that many hands make for light work. When I saw this image, it spoke volumes to me about what FLACO really is. We are many hands from all parts of the world making a difference. Because of our joint efforts, we can, and we do, have a big impact. Thank you for allowing me to serve as treasurer this past term. It has been an honor and a privilege. I will be available. That's okay, you can. I will be available to answer any questions that you might have throughout the conference. Thank you.